Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonlight. This is Dave Johnson, channeling Van Moon. Today, I'm going to take a look at woke. Is this going to work for the Republican Party? Will it be an effective tool in their political agenda? Hmm. So these images are really interesting. It's very unusual sort of images. I'm actually seeing a pyramid, and I often see these pyramids. It's a very positive thing. But this pyramid has a hole in it, and stuff like creepy stuff is coming out of it. Like it's like a meat grinder is coming out of it. And you know how sometimes if you really look at the process of you know meat, creating meat, if you look at the you don't want to know the grody stuff that's in an animal that you're not going to eat. It's just messy. Um, that's just what I get. It's like, oh, it's like when we watch TV shows that tell us how food is produced. It's gross. Okay, I get this. Here's Ron DeSantis, and he's like taking a bite of these giblets, and he's just like, "Ooh, that's not very good." Ooh, and the blood is kind of going down his. Ooh, it's a gross image, you guys. So he's just grody. It's like red meat to the base. That's the message here. And it's interesting because at first he thinks it's gross, and then he kind of is like, well, actually, this red meat, these giblets are kind of working for me. And it's like he's thinking, how can that work for me? How can I get red meat? And that's all this is. It's just red meat to the base. And he started doing mathematical calculations. How many voters can I get by doing this? It's purely statistical measures. It's based on what he perceives or what is perceived to be voters' preferences. But I see a lot of, you know, they look like moms, American women specifically, just rolling their eyes. Look, all you out there, I'm sure you've got a lot of things to think about today. You got a lot of issues on your plate and on your mind. You're not worried about whether somebody else is woke. It's like a problem. If it is a problem, it's not really a problem, but it doesn't, it's just that it's not a problem. It's not a part of the world that you live in. And I just see people rolling their eyes. Again, specifically women that look like they would have children, just rolling their eyes like, God, I got so much other stuff to do today. I just don't want to deal. And they just see it as perceive it as dumb, a dumb issue. Yeah, and now I'm seeing a kitchen sink. It's like they're interested in kitchen sink issues. Does the water work? Is it dripping? I don't have time. And I think it's significant because these are the women that really did swing the election for Biden. Just people who care, people who are, reasonable and rational, and also people who have a normal amount of, you know, empathy for another human being. It just, people have been around long enough now that, everybody's met a gay or lesbian that they like. And pretty much everybody sees this for prejudice. Now, there are people, in Florida, generally an older generation of people who haven't dealt with this. But in the long run, who matters more? Which of these electorates is the electorate of the future? I just get a woman, she's just like, I've been around the block a couple of times. I know what goes on. I'm not stupid. My vote, might have been for Trump, but it was just because I was disgusted with all of the political parties and I wanted it all break. Yeah, that's sort of what she says to me. And then she's kind of like, well, maybe that was a mistake, but at the same time, we did need to break everything up. It was inevitable. The Democratic Party had to change and come back to the people. It's like she's saying, I'm not a fool. I didn't not vote. I didn't throw my vote away because I'm stupid. I was a protest. But that same woman has become angry. And it's like the sword of truth. And I hope y'all will just take this as a metaphor for yourself. Take out your sword of truth here. It's not a sword that's going to harm another. Just, really, we need to be strong in our beliefs. So again, this is back to the question: will it work? It's diminishing. I see actually an American flag, but it's like edges start getting cut off, and then it gets smaller, and then it gets smaller. This is not a winning. Woke is not a winning proposition. You can only repeat that word a couple of thousand times, and then it just every time you use it, it becomes less and less. People start asking questions. What do you mean by that? And um, let's see. People know the real reason why Silicon Valley Bank has failed. So I forget what that bank's called, but y'all know what I mean. They know that it has to do with money. It doesn't have to do with how many, seminars you hold on equal opportunities. What else can we know about this? One thing that's really good to know, this is showing the desperation of the Republican Party. They really have nothing else to stand on other than this sort of salesy buzzword conspiracy theory type of action. That didn't work in the last election. For the most part, Trump definitely failed. For the most part, the Republicans failed in the last election. So, you know, they're just grasping at stuff, and they're not addressing any of our problems. So imagine, trying to, you know, the house is burning and you're trying to use a bucket to put the water out. It's not an effective strategy. They know it is an effective strategy. And it's also like a sieve, you just throw water on the sieve, it goes through the holes. There's not much that remains except for like a very topical thing. Don't forget that this is really easy for Dems to argue against. They have really put up the sort of pressure to start responding. And I think this is the silver lining. It shows that Republicans are getting pretty desperate. They don't have a platform. They just have a not platform. And the Democrats are really fighting back. They finally got their fighting spirit, which is why people had their protest votes in the first place, is that they want someone to fight for us, and not just the 1%. They want Democrats, to fight for us. And they're learning, it's like they figured it out. And now you look at any panel and you'll see them fighting back, and speaking to these nonsense issues. It's making the Republicans look mean and nasty. It's making the Dems look like the fighters. Every time we see this happen, we are more inclined to say, wow, Dems finally got it together, and now they are working for us. In short, will this work? No, it's not going to work. The woke thing isn't going to work. And again, I want to underline this. The only reason Republicans are going for this is because they don't have anything else. They cannot no longer argue that Trump really won. They cannot say it's all the Dems' fault. It will all somehow come down to woke, and people aren't going to believe that. They're not going to accept that now. One thing too is that we've heard this for so long. We've heard these kind of memes, and that's going to drive our culture. People are becoming more aware of what is underlying the meme, that there is no substance to this, and that they really don't relate to the practical problems we have in our society. Thanks so much for watching.